एकदा निर्गतां गेहार दुहन्तीं निशिगां पथि सर्पोदशत पदा स्पृष्टः कृपणां कालचोदितः. Synonyms. Ekda, once upon a time. Nirgatam, having gone away. Gehat, from home. Duhantim, for milking. Nishi, at night. Gam, the cow. Pathi, on the path. Sarpah, snake. Adasat, bitten. Pad, pada, on the leg. Sprishtah, thus struck. Kripanam, the poor woman. Kal Chodita, influenced by supreme time. Translation. Once upon a time, my poor mother, when going out one night to milk a cow, was bitten on leg by a serpent, influenced by supreme time. Purport. That is the way of dragging sincere soul nearer to God. The poor boy was being looked after only by his affectionate mother, and yet the mother was taken from the world by the supreme will in order to put him completely at the mercy of the Lord. So देखिए यहाँ पे व्यू पॉइंट देखिए प्रभुपाद जी का, मतलब he was alone with his mother and प्रभुपाद जी कह रहे हैं कि this was the mercy of the God. So अगर हम मेटीरियल सेंस में देखें, अगर कोई है तो हम कहेंगे कि इतना बुरा हुआ, ये हुआ, वो हुआ, but from the devotee's point of view, this was mercy of the God. Now that boy who was already Krishna conscious will be completely dependent on the mercy of the Lord. No one. So, अगर कोई read करना चाहता है तो you can raise your hands. I'll now read 1:6:10. तदा तद्हमीशस्य भक्तानाम संभीपस्त अनुग्रहं मन्यमाना प्रतिष्ठं दिश्मुत्तरम्. Synonyms. Tada, at that time. Tat, that. Aham, I. Ishasya, of the Lord. Bhaktanam, of the devotees. Some, mercy. Abhipastaha, abhipasat, desiring. Anugraham, special benediction. Manyamana, thinking in that way. Pratishtam, departed. Disham, uttaram, in the northern direction. Translation. I took this as the special mercy of the Lord, who always desires benediction for his devotees, and so thinking, I started for the north. Purport. Confidential devotees of the Lord see in every step a benedictory direction of the Lord. What is considered to be an odd or difficult movement in the mundane sense is accepted as special mercy of the Lord. Mundane prosperity is a kind of material fever, and by the grace of the Lord, the temperature of this material fever is gradually diminished, and spiritual health is obtained step by step. Mundane people misunderstand it. So यहाँ भी वही, मतलब Narad ji was 5 years old at that time, and he was so Krishna consciousness that he took it as special mercy of the Lord. भगवान, अगर हम आगे भी पढ़ेंगे भागवतम में, जहाँ कृष्णा कहते हैं कि जिस पे मैं स्पेशल मर्सी करता हूँ, I take everything from him. That is the special mercy of the Lord. So, but for that, everyone has to be eligible. You know, everyone cannot sustain that situation. So Krishna does not give this special mercy to everyone. So now we'll see Bhagwan ne kya mercy ki. So we'll read in next shlokas. Sfitanjana padam statra Gurugram Vrijakaran Khet Kharvato Atischa Vanani Utvanancha. Synonyms. Fitan, very flourishing. Janpadan, metropolises. Tatra, there. Pura, towns. Gram, villages. Vraj, big farms. Akaran, mineral fields or mines. Khet, agricultural lands. Kharvat, valleys. Vatihi, flower gardens. Cha and Vanani, forests. Upvanani, nursery gardens. Cha and. Translation. After my departure, I passed through many flourishing metropolises, towns, villages, animal farms, mines, agricultural lands, valleys, flower gardens, nursery gardens, and natural forests. Man's activities in agriculture, mining, farming, industries, gardening, etc. were all on the same scale as they are now, even previous to the present creation. And the same activities will remain as they are even in the next creation. After many hundreds of millions of years, one creation is started by the law of nature, and the history of the universe repeats itself practically in the same way. The mundane wranglers waste time with archaeological excavations without searching into the vital necessities of life. After getting an impetus in spiritual life, Srinarad Muni, even though a mere child, did not waste time for a single moment with economic development. Although he passed towns and villages, mines and industries, he continually went on to progressive spiritual emancipation. Srimad Bhagavatam is the repetition of history which happened some hundreds of millions of years ago. As it is said herein, only the most important factors of history are picked up to be recorded in this transcendental literature. So, यहाँ पे बता रहे हैं कि ये जो story चल रही है, this is in the previous day of Brahma that has already gone. So, अभी नारद जी, Shri Narad Muni is telling this story to Vyasdev in the current day of Brahma. और हमें पता है कि ब्रह्मा जी का एक दिन कितना होता है, कि कोई बताना चाहेगा ब्रह्मा जी का एक दिन कितना होता है? Can unmute and tell me.
1000 Chatur Yugas.
Yes, Mother. So, yeah, 1000 Chatra Yugas पहले जो ब्रह्मा जी का डे था उसमें भी यही सब हो रहा था जो आज की डेट में हो रहा है, एग्रीकल्चर, माइनिंग, फार्मिंग. तो बात कह रहे हैं कि why to waste time in archaeological excavation? जब यही सब रिपीट होता रहता है, we should focus on the vital necessities of life. What is the vital necessity of life? Is to basically inquire who am I and where I am from, who is God. So ये सब inquiry होनी चाहिए. और यहाँ पे देखिए ये लिख रहे हैं कि only the most important factory of history are picked up to be recorded in this transcendental literature. अब हमें लगेगा कि इसमें क्या important है, इस श्लोका में क्या important है, जबकि यहाँ पे कह रहे हैं कि most important. इसमें ये important है, हमारे एक मैं लेक्चर सुन रहा था उसमें बता रहे थे कि अगर हम ये नहीं बताएंगे कि कैसे कैसे था तो लोगों को लगेगा कि ये तो बस एक ऐसे ही बनाई हुई है, और जो पहले कुछ था ही नहीं, उससे पहले पिछले युगों में कुछ था ही नहीं, कुछ पता नहीं था. तो बेसिकली थ्रू दिस लिटरेचर वी आर गेटिंग इंफॉर्मेशन कि एवरीथिंग रिपीट्स इटसेल्फ. तो इट्स नॉट दैट कि ये जो अभी चल रहा है अभी है, पहले कभी हुआ नहीं. इट इज एक्चुअली रिपीटिंग एवरी डे ऑफ ब्रह्मा. उठते हैं तो क्रिएशन करते हैं, जब सो जाते हैं तो क्रिएशन को विड्रॉ कर लेते हैं. चित्र धातु विचित्राद्रिं इभा भग्न भुजा द्रुमान जलाशयान चिव जलान ललिनी शूर सेविता चित्र स्वनहि पत्र रथे विभ्रम भ्रमराश्रया. Synonyms. Chitra dhatu, valuable minerals like gold, silver and copper. Vichitra, full of variegatedness. Adrin, hills and mountains. Ibha bhagna, broken by the giant elephants. Bhuj, branches. Bruman, trees. Jalasyan, Shiva, health giving. Jalan, reservoirs of water, Nalini lotus flowers, Suraj Sevita aspired to by the denizens of heavens. Chitra Swanai pleasing to the heart, Patra Rathai by the birds, Vibhramat bewildering, Brahmar Shriha decorated by bronze. Translation. I passed through hills and mountains full of reservoirs of various minerals like gold, silver, and copper, and through tracts of land with reservoirs of water filled with beautiful lotus flowers fit for the denizens of heaven, decorated with bewildered bees and singing birds. So the next shloka.
Can I read, Prabhu?
Yes, Mother.
Text 13. Nala Venu Sarastambha Kusha Kichaka Ghavaram Eka Evatayato Aham Adraksham Pipina Mahat Goram Pratibhayakaram Vyaloluka Shivajiram. Synonyms. Nala, pipes. Venu, bamboo. Sharaha, pans. Tamba, full of. Kusha, sharp. Brass. Kichaka, weeds. Gehevaram, caves. Ekaha, alone. Eva, only. Atiyataha, difficult to go through. Aham, I. Adraksham, visited. Vipinam, deep. Forest. Mahad, great. Goram, fearful. Pratibhaya akaram, dangerously. Vyala, snakes. Uluka, owls. Shiva, jackals. Ajiram, playgrounds. Translation. I then passed alone through many forests of rushes, bamboo reeds, sharp grass, weeds, and caves, which were very difficult to go through alone. I visited deep, dark, and dangerously fearful forests, which were the play yards of snakes, owls, and jackals. Purport. It is the duty of a mendicant Parivrajakacharya to experience all varieties of God's creation by traveling alone through all forests, hills, towns, villages, etc. To gain faith in God and strength of mind, as well as to enlighten the inhabitants with the message of God. A sannyasi is duty bound to take all these risks without fear, and the most typical sannyasi of the present age is Lord Chaitanya, who traveled in the same manner through the central Indian jungles, enlightening even the tigers, bears, snakes, deer, elephants, and many other jungle animals. In this age of Kali, sannyas is forbidden for ordinary men. One who changes his dress to make propaganda is a different man from the original ideal sannyasi. One should, however, take the vow to stop social intercourse completely and devote life exclusively to the service of the Lord. The change of dress is only a formality. Lord Chaitanya did not accept the name of a sannyasi, and in this age of Kali, the so called sannyasi should not change their former names. Following in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya, in this age, devotional service of hearing and repeating the holy glories of the Lord is strongly recommended. And one who takes the vows of renunciation of family life need not imitate the Parivrajakacharya like Narad or Lord Chaitanya, but may sit down at some holy place and devote his whole life and energy to hear and repeatedly chant the holy scriptures left by the great Acharya like the six Goswamis of Vrindavan.
यहाँ पर क्या बता रहे हैं प्रभुपाद जी कि जो नारद मुनि जा रहे थे क्रॉस एंड ही वाज एक्चुअली going with the faith of God and strength of his mind, and he was his main agenda was to enlighten the inhabitants with the message of God. So सन्यासी की या किसी की भी जो भी कृष्णा कॉन्शियस है उसकी ये ड्यूटी है कि वो सबको भगवान का मैसेज दे. तो यहाँ पे चैतन्य महाप्रभु का एग्जाम्पल दे रहे हैं जैसे कैसे वो जंगल से गए विद टाइगर्स, बियर, स्नेक्स. तो his main agenda was to enlighten people with the message of God. So, okay. Next, Mataji, you can continue.
Text 14. परिश्रान्तेन्द्रियात्माना तत्परीतो बुभुक्षितः स्नात्वा पीत्वा हृदनाद्या उपस्पृष्टो गतश्रमः. Parishrantah, being tired, indriya, bodily, atma, mentally, aham, I. Trat paritah, being thirsty, bubhukshita, and hungry, snatva, taking a bath, pitva, and drinking water also, hriday, in the lake, nadyah, of a river, upasprashtah, being in contact with, gata, got relief from, Shramaha, tiredness. Translation. Thus traveling, I felt tired, both bodily and mentally, and I was both thirsty and hungry. So I took a bath in a river, lake, and also drank water. By contacting water, I got relief from my exhaustion. Purport. A traveling mendicant can meet the needs of the body, namely thirst and hunger, by the gifts of nature without being a beggar at the doors of the householders. The mendicant, therefore, does not go to the house of a householder to beg, but to enlighten him spiritually.
देखिए यहाँ कितनी अच्छी बात बताई है कि for our bodily maintenance, for thirst and hunger, we can depend on the gifts of nature. तो भगवान जो है वो सबका ख्याल रखते हैं. जैसे अगर हम एग्जाम्पल देखें, जंगल में हाथी का कितना डाइट होता है, तो भगवान उसको भी पेट भर के प्रोवाइड करवाते हैं. और अगर हम देखें किसी काली गुफा में, काली चट्टान पे काली चींटी है, उसको तक भगवान खाना प्रोवाइड कराते हैं. तो क्या भगवान हमें नहीं कराएंगे? तो वी शुड ऑल्सो डिपेंड ऑन द नेचुरल थिंग्स. We should move away from artificial, and we should be dependent on the mercy of God as much as possible. So इससे भगवान हमें ऐसा नहीं है कि प्रोवाइड, जो भी हमारे कर्मा है उसके हिसाब से तो हमें मिलेगा ही, चाहे हम कुछ करें चाहे ना करें. तो इसलिए अच्छा ये है कि हम भगवान की मर्जी पे डिपेंडेंट रहे. जैसे कि नारद जी इस टाइम भगवान की मर्जी पे डिपेंडेंट होके जंगलों से जा रहे हैं. क्या आप फिर से आगे पढ़ेंगे या कोई और भी?
Yes.
ठीक है, ओके.
Text 15. Tasmin nirmanujo aranye pipalopashta ashrita atmanatmanam atmastam yathashrutam achintayam. Synonyms. Tasmin, in that. Nirmanuje, without human habitation. Aranye, in the forest. Pipala, banyan tree. Upaste, sitting under it. Ashrita, taking shelter of. Atmana, by intelligence. Atmanam, the super soul. Atmastham, situated within myself. Yatha Shrutam, as I had heard it from the liberated souls. Achintayam, thought over. Translation. After that, under the shadow of a banyan tree in an uninhabited forest, I began to I began to meditate upon the super soul situated within, using my intelligence as I had learned from liberated souls. Purport. One should not meditate according to one's personal whims. One should know perfectly well from the authoritative sources of scriptures, through the transparent medium of a bona fide spiritual master, and by proper use of one's trained intelligence for meditating upon the super soul dwelling within every living being. This consciousness is firmly developed by a devotee who has rendered loving service unto the Lord by carrying out the orders of spiritual master. Sri Narad ji contacted bona fide spiritual masters, served them sincerely, and got enlightenment rightly. Thus he began to meditate.
तो देखिए यहाँ पे हम सोचेंगे कि 5 years old boy who started meditation upon the super soul, तो उनको कैसे वो ज्ञान मिला? So first step, क्या है हमारी भक्ति में आगे बढ़ने का कि वी शुड टेक द शेल्टर ऑफ अ बोनिफाइड स्पिरिचुअल मास्टर. So that is the first step if you want to grow in the bhakti. And by the mercy of spiritual master, we can progress and perform devotional service. And we should do seva for the spiritual master so that we can get mercy, Krishna through Guru. That is the way actually. This is how actually Narad ji learned, got enlightenment, and he is doing meditation in alone in the forest under a banyan.
Meena Mataji raised her hand, I think.
Yes, Meena
She said
Mataji, आप पढ़ सकते हैं?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes.
ध्यास्तास करण अम्याभ्योजम भाव नित्यज सा
अनुत्कंठया श्रु कलाक्षया हृदि आसीन में सनैर हरि.
ध्यात synonyms. ध्यातः thus meditating upon. करना जो
शरण अम्भोजम.
the Ambojam, the lotus feet of localized personality of God have. Bhava Nritya, mind transformed in transcendental love of the Lord.
चेतसा,
all mental activities, thinking, feeling, and willing. Ankatha, eagerness. Arukala, Ashtrukala, tears roll down. Askya, of the eyes. Hridi, within my heart. Dishti, appeared. May, my. Sanhi, without delay. Hearts, the personality of Godhead. Translation: as soon as I began to meditate upon the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead, with my mind transformed in transcendental love, tears rolled down on my eyes, and without delay the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, appeared on the lotus feet, lotus of my heart. Perfect. The word bhava is significant here. The bhava stage is attained after one has transcendental affection for the Lord. The first initial stage is called sahardha, or a liking for the Supreme Lord, and in order to increase that liking, one has to associate the pure devotee of the Lord. The third stage is the practice of prescribed rules and regulations of devotional service. This will be dissipate of all sorts of misgivings and remove all personal deficiencies that hamper progress in the devotional service. When all misgivings and personal deficiencies are removed, there is the standard faith in transcendental matter, and the taste of it increases in greater pro- proportion. Proportion. This stage leads to attraction, and after this, there's bhava, or the prior stage of unalloyed love for God. All the above different stages are but different are different stages of developing of transcendental love, being of sorts charged with transcendental love. There comes a strong feeling of separation, which leads to 8 different kinds of escalates. Tears come out from 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 the eyes of a devotee. Is an atomic reaction, and because Sri Narad Muni is his previous birth attained the stage of very quickly after his departure from home. It was quite possible for him to perceive the actual presence of God, Lord, which Tagler experienced by testable experience by his developed spiritual senses without material change.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. अथर्व पढ़ रहे थे ना? अथर्व
font is very small, so ना पढ़ने में बहुत दिक्कत हो रही है.
ओके ओके,
तो फोन पे पढ़ने में ना थोड़ा और छोटा हो जाता है एक्चुअली.
आप मुझे बता देते मैं बड़ा कर देता हूँ. चलिए कोई बात नहीं. सो यहाँ पर stages, 9 stages of 9 stages of devotional service के बारे में बता रहे हैं प्रभुपाद जी. जिसमें सबसे पहले होता है श्रद्धा. श्रद्धा होती है हमारी, तो हमें डिवोटीज का. सेकंड होता है साधु संग. हम डिवोटीज का साधु संग करते हैं. साधु संग करते हैं तो क्या होता है कि हमारा कीर्तन में रुचि जागती है, तो हम भजन क्रिया करते हैं. साधु संग होता है तो हम भजन क्रिया में लग जाते हैं. और जब हम भजन क्रिया में भगवान के नाम का कीर्तन करते हैं तो हमारे अनर्थों की निवृत्ति होती है, जो कि 4th स्टेज है. अनर्थ निवृत्ति होती है. और एक बार अनर्थ निवृत्ति हो जाए तो हमारी भगवान में निष्ठा जो है वो बढ़ जाती है. 5th स्टेज आती है निष्ठा. निष्ठा अगर हमारी बढ़ती है तो हमारे नाम में रुचि बढ़ेगी और ज्यादा. तो रुचि बढ़ेगी तो उसके बाद हमारे जो अटैचमेंट्स हैं वो हमारे कम हो जाएंगे बहुत अपने आप ऑटोमेटिकली. तो एक प्रोसेस है. अटैचमेंट कम हो जाएंगे तो हम भाव स्टेज पे आ जाएंगे, जो यहाँ पर बता रहे हैं. और भाव स्टेज एक बार हमने पार कर लिया तो जो लास्ट स्टेज है वो प्रेम भगवान कृष्ण प्रेम का स्टेज है. तो अभी जो नारद मुनि है, श्री नारद मुनि, वो भाव स्टेज पे हैं और उनके आंखों से टीयर्स आ रहे हैं अपने आप, क्योंकि उन्होंने भगवान का साक्षात्कार कर लिया श्री कृष्णा का अपने लोटस हार्ट में. he has done the साक्षात्कार of Krishna. So he's at the bhav stage. So once that bhav stage is done, he will come to the prema stage. That is the last stage in the devotional stage. So अभी आज यहाँ खत्म करेंगे, हमारा टाइम हो गया. किसी का कुछ क्वेश्चन है या कमेंट है तो we can discuss. Yes,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare
Prabhu,
Krishna.
so Prabhu, the last stage is prema, which is pure love for Shri Krishna. But viraha, or viraha is the surcharge emotion for prema.
विरहा इस तो मुझे अच्छे से तो नहीं पता है, मगर प्रभु जी शायद भाव स्टेज पे भी, मतलब विरहा तो किसी भी स्टेज पे हो सकता है. बट वो इंटेंस होता चला है। जैसे जैसे हम स्टेजेस में बढ़ते चले जाएंगे, हमारा वो विरह का जो फीलिंग है, सेपरेशन का फीलिंग है, वो इंटेंस होता चला जाता है। तो so this is what I understand, Prabhu. We can confirm from Raj Prabhu.
Sure, Prabhu.
अभी हमें भी जैसे कभी कभी आपको भी लगता होगा विरह, सेपरेशन, तो बट आवर सेपरेशन इज नॉट दैट इंटेंस जैसे गोपियों का था इंटेंस सेपरेशन, तो वो हाईएस्ट स्टेज पे होता है। तो that is what I understand. We can clear that from the aspect.
Sure, Prabhu. Sure. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Bobji. So we'll end the session now. Vancha kalpatrubhyashta kripa sindhubhaycha pitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare